So I had an old radio show up to be checked over. This is an old RCA, an old tube set. It's probably going back to the 1930s, I'm going to guess on this one. It's not in good shape, I will tell you that much right up front. The power cord's all frayed, that needs to be replaced. All the paper caps, they're definitely going to need to be replaced. But before we can even get to that stage of replacing capacitors and power cords, I want to see if this darn thing works, because hey, we may be sitting on one with a bad tube that's unobtainable. Let's check it out. What do we have here? Looks like we've got an old radio. A really old radio. This thing's full of tubes. This is an old RCA. It's a, what model is this thing? An A20, it looks like an A20C. Draws 80 watts. RCA Victor Company Limited, Montreal, Canada. This was made in Canada, this unit. The dial string is shot, for starters. It's broken. You can see it right there. So, can't tune anything in. I would need a dial string redone. I'm just kind of going to go over this thing and see if we can make this thing produce some sound. The power cord needs to be replaced. For starters, this thing is in pretty rough shape. It's that is the there's a control on the side here. Don't know what it does. Let's just pop that off. We're going to pop the chassis out on this unit and just give it a once over. The knobs on the front, the tuning dial over here. That's a band switch. This is the tuning dial. That's the volume. All right, let's just pop this thing apart. Oh, there's another dial on this side. That's the tuning dial. What was this one? Might have been tone. This is going to be volume and power. And that's a band switch. That one. Okay, pop this side off, and we'll pull the chassis out of this thing. I guess I don't have to worry about it getting scratched. It's already well beyond that. It's scratched all right. This is not in very good shape at all. I should be able to pop the chassis out by removing a couple of screws from the bottom. Usually these big slotted screws will remove the chassis. This came in the other day, and the fellow that owns it has already called to see if I've looked at it, so I figured I better give it a quick once over. The dial string, I don't know what I'm going to be able to do with that. I don't have any dial string. At this point, I don't even know where to get the dial string anymore. Used to be able to buy that stuff, but these days, I don't know where to get it. So remove these 3 screws to hold the chassis in place, and I can remove the chassis to take a look at the guts. Let's see if I can get this thing to produce some sound. I say it's going to need a new power cord for sure, as that power cord is completely falling apart. It's cracked, and this is a shock hazard and a fire hazard. So now that that is removed, I should be able to slide the chassis out, providing that there's nothing else holding it in place. Well, the knobs, I guess, on the front have to come off too. Speaker's got to get unplugged as well. There's a plug in here for the speaker. I can't quite reach it. This is a electrodynamic speaker, so there's going to be high voltage on this plug that powers up the speaker. And of course there's more wires on here. More deteriorated wires going to the dial light on the front. First thing I'm going to do on this before I even attempt to power it up is to get rid of this power cord. This is dangerous. It's hazardous. It's all cracked. You can see, look at the insulation. It's just totally shot. The wires are bare. That has to go. That's the first thing. I mean, someone's tried to tape it up before. You know, I mean, this is just, no, that's garbage. we'll get a new power cord on here. I'm not going to even start changing caps or anything on this. I've kind of restrung the dial cord so that it will operate the tuner. I think it's incorrect. Yeah, now it'll... The tuning dial on here is missing. Oh, I went backwards. Oh well. When you turn it to the right, it goes down. But that's the best I could do for what I've got here. I got to get the... Is it over the pulley? Oh, I'm missing the pulley. Got to get it over this pulley here. Pain in the butt. These tuning strings are always a pain in the butt. Before going any further, I'm going to power this up under the dim bulb tester and see whether we get anything, any noise or anything out of it whatsoever. It is not drawing excessive current at this point. Very dim light, so we know it is drawing some power. My bulb is just barely glowing, and as the bulb starts to come up, as the voltage starts to come up, the tubes start to warm. I hear a bit of a hum. And nothing else. Let's see if I can tune anything. Now this does have a band selector switch here. Not drawing excessive current. So right now I just want to hear if I get any noise out of it. I can hear the amplifier humming, and the light is lighting up here, so we know we got power. Give the switch a shot of cleaner. Nothing. Okay, so see if all the tubes are warming up. Again, I'm at low current here. Just see if I can feel the tubes. That one's warm. And we can see that one's on. We know that the 6V6 is doing something because I can hear a hum. I don't know if that's a volume or a tone. That might be volume. One of these is tone. Oh, what do we hear? Do we hear something? Antenna wire. One of these is antenna. I almost hear something there. almost hear something. That might be just dirt in the tuner. So I've had the unit running here for just idling for a couple of minutes. That tube's hot, that tube's hot, that tube's hot, this tube is hot, that tube is cold completely. That's a vacuum tube, and there's no heat whatsoever. That one's warm. These are metal covered tubes. There's still a glass tube inside. It's got a metal cover on it to shield it. That tube is hot, that tube is completely cold. So this is an 6SK7. I'll have to go out on a limb and say that that tube is bad, because I had it running here for about 10 minutes and all the other tubes are hot as hell. Like that one's pretty warm. These ones are hot. And this one's dead cold. So we got a bad tube, so I gotta get a hold of the fella and let him know this is where we stand. It needs all the caps replaced. It's got a bad tube. Good luck finding that, I think. But anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Right now I'm just going to throw it together so I can say I've had a look at it. And this is what I've determined so far. We're going to have to find a tube. I have a bunch of tubes. I don't think I've got any of these. I'll have to go through my collection of obsolete tubes and see if I've got a 6, I think it was a 6SK7. I think that's what I said it was. 6SK7. I'm going to have to go and see if I can find one of those. I mean, yeah, obviously I don't think, if we have to find an antique tube for what the people ask for these tubes, I don't think he's going to go for it. But I said I'd have a look at it. I have. That's where we are. Needs a tube. Needs all the paper caps replaced. Needs the dial string done properly. I just kind of put it in place just so I could tune it. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching.